Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another Raging Reality reaction video, where today, ladies and gentlemen, we are up to part 6 of your Kickoff Battle Royale. My name is Raging Reality, and today, guys, it is only our second video by the Arctic Monkeys, but I think I've pretty much chosen something that I think we all can reflect and not to mention enjoy. And let me just off again. Out of sight, out of mind. So, let's get started today, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Cool. So, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. Let's begin. Flourescent Adolescent in 3, 2, 1, and... Wait a minute. I recognize that beat. Didn't they used this in the In-Betweeners, didn't they? Let me just aim just in case I'm not mistaken. That's 100% In-Betweeners.
Fishnets, now you only get it in your night dress. Discarded all the naughty nights for niceness. Landed in a very common crisis. Everything's in order in a black hole. Nothing seems to pity it's the past though. A bloody memory's like an El Tabasco. Remember when you used to be a rascal? Oh, the boys are slag. The best you ever had, the best you ever had is just a memory. And those dreams, when as daft as they seem, as daft as they seemed, my love, when you dream them all. Flicking through a little book of sex tips. Remember when the bars were all electric? And now when she told she's gonna get it, I'm guessing that she'd rather just forget it. Clinging to not getting sentimental. Said she wasn't going but she went still. Like a gentleman had to be gentle. Was it a Mechadabra or a betting pencil? Oh, the boys are slag. The best you ever had, the best you ever had is just a memory. And those dreams, when as daft as they seem, as daft as they seem, my love, when you dream them overflow. Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Oh. You took a left off last life lane, just sounding it out, but you're not coming back again. You're falling about. You took a left off last life lane. You were just sounding it out, but you're not coming.
Jeez. Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, that was Flourescent Adolescent by the Arctic Monkeys. That was... It's so difficult to believe that it's been 10 years since the In-Betweeners ended. And I'm talking about the show in particular. The first movie was fine. The second movie was just meh, to be honest. It's the best part. It's just a meh episode of The In-Betweeners was the second movie. But as talking about the song, and I've never realized this before, but this was almost a perfect match for what happens in the in-betweeners, because the whole point of Flourescent Adolescent is about these kids who have just grown up and have just despised and just hated everything about the world. It's so interesting about the difference between childhood and adulthood, because in childhood you have to take almost no responsibility. You are literally almost required to live as though you could just play all day, sleep all night, and then just do the exact same thing day in, day out, sometimes also going to school. When you get to adulthood, literally the whole world seems to have turned upside down. You begin to realize, and again, you this is only for people who've ever been in this scenario, which hopefully is going to be the majority of you guys at home, is that when you've either left school or whether you've graduated from college or university and you're out there in the world, well, you know what? There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the big wide world right there. But then, of course, you miss the security you used to felt where you had absolutely nothing to worry about. Or you're more worried than ever about the future, and you have absolutely no idea what's going to happen there, because you are pretty much on the path towards the future. But where do you go right now? And before you know it, ladies and gentlemen, you're 35 years old. You have absolutely no idea if you've contributed or have done anything important in your life. And the only thing you've got better to live for is to think about the days that were better than this. Time is just... There are so many great songs there about time, about the joys of being a child, and the joys of being innocent, the joys of being free. And then when you get into the real world, and when you get into adulthood, you're almost half required to follow A, B, C, and D for no other reason but the fact is that you've just got to, because everyone else more or less is, and then you've just pretty much got to follow the same rhythm. Now, of course, there are people. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people out there who straight up don't always follow the rules. That's pretty much a given. But then, of course, why should you get a greater sense of self-consciousness when you get to the age of adulthood, when you begin to think of what are you going to do? What about your future? Because that really should be the one you should be considering about, because what you're going to do in your future is not going to be what somebody else may be doing in their future. This is the shit you were told about when you were like 12 or possibly 13 years old. And I don't want to like expand on this too much, but during the large parts of when I was in secondary school, all I seem to care about more than anything is just getting from the beginning of the day to getting to the end of the day. Anything extraordinary that happened was a bonus, because it was my future I was thinking about, which again, that's not a bad thing. And it's not like I didn't make friends during secondary school. It's just it was a whole bunch of very, very different people. It was I don't really want to say this because this sounds incredibly cliche, but the 2010s. I mean, I started secondary school in September the 3rd, 2009, and I graduated, I believe, June 24th, 2016. You would not believe what kind of world it was back then. When I was in like year 8, I was almost our entire form class was sort of like forced, as it were, to, well, we were told to pay more attention to the news, because we were told then by our form teacher that listening to what's going on in the world right now, because we are going to be a part of the world as we are already a part of the world as we know it, but it's important to pay attention to everything that goes on. I can tell you almost everything that I can sort of remember that went down in 2011 if you want. It was 10 years after September 11th, which that's an occasion in itself, don't get me wrong. Then there was also the death of Osama bin Laden. There was also the death of Colonel Gaddafi. There was Japan's magnitude 9 earthquake followed by its tsunami, which led to the destruction of the Hiroshima power plant. There was just... What on earth else happened in that year? I think there was like meant to be like a... There was an earthquake in New Zealand, in Christchurch, I believe. There was... You would not believe it, but it's one of those parts, ladies and gentlemen, where you can look back on your life, and very similar to when I mentioned The In-Betweeners, is that whether you grew up watching it or you only started watching it years later because it had the reputation as one of the best British sitcoms ever made, and it is, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. The In-Betweeners is... It's a bit like Daria in many ways, because it is high school in many ways, but this isn't from an all lads perspective. This is from... In fact, you know what I'm beginning to think of right now? Will, Jay, Simon and Neil, they almost all represent the four main sort of people you actually do meet in sixth form. The one who thinks he knows it all, and the guy who... The one who thinks he knows it all, but has absolutely no concept of how anything outside the outside world works, because he's too busy coddling up to his mum. You've also got the innocent sort of guy who's trying to play it cool, but he is so... What's the word? Cunt-struck about Carly D'Amato. Basically, the British Trixie Tang, and I've heard somebody use the comparison to Trixie Tang before, and I think it was absolutely awesome, because Trixie Tang is almost the original thought as far as I'm concerned. Oh dear. Then of course you've got Jay, the the very insecure liar, the guy who thinks as if he has to tell the whole world about how many birds he's pulled, how many drugs he's done, just in a vain attempt to look cool or be the center of attention, because, you know, self-esteem issues. And I can't think of why when it came to Jay, apart from, you know, his dad and the fact that his dog's dead and then why he masturbated. Yeah, apart from that, can't really figure out why. And then there's Neil. I like Neil. Be more like Neil. You know, God is dog spelled backwards. And there's gonna be people 20, 30 years down the line who will watch and look back on The In-Betweeners, because I reckon it'll be so interesting if I watch The In-Betweeners again when I was if I'm about 50, just to find out exactly what changed, and to find out just how much I changed as the show grew older and older, and possibly even further in the depths of British Hall of Fame. It really would, along with just about everything else. And like I've said before about songs like Flourescent Adolescent, it's about what you supposedly think of your memories, and it's supposed to be about what do you think about the people you used to know and where are they right now. So maybe that's the best way we can end this off. And I don't really want to like spend too much time talking about my own stuff, because I want to like put that in an entirely different video in itself, because there is a lot I could go into that. But on the whole, a blast from the past. And you know what? Looking back, it wasn't all too bad. It wasn't all that bad at all. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this reaction video. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought of Flourescent Adolescent by the Arctic Monkeys. Please also make sure to also like and subscribe to get daily notifications when my videos come out. And I hope to see you guys again in the next reaction video. Take care. Bye-bye for now.